Alright, the book of Zohar, Donkey Driver. Rabbi Elzer, the son of Rabbi Shimon, was on his way to visit the father-in-law, Rabbi Yossi, son of Lucanolia. Rabbi Abba accompanied him, and men followed behind him, a driver of their donkeys. Rabbi Abba said, "Let us open the gates of the Torah at this time to correct our path." In Aramaic language in the Torah is written, driver means one who pricks. This is because the donkey driver functions amount to forcing the donkeys to move by pricking them on the edge of with a stick. Rabbi Elzer opened and it says, written with the my Sabbaths are you are to the day, you are to observe. Let's see, the Creator created the world 6 days. Each day was revealed his day with the greater strength of the day. What did he reveal his head to give them strength? Or the 4 days creation. For the first 3 days was concealed and completely would not be revealed. The fourth day arrived when he revealed with the deeds and force of all the days. The phase gave me the day the strength means for the gate of everything to the day of the Shabbat. Or I'm pretty sure that Shabbat means Sabbath. There's a lot of Hesed Gavana Tefera Terav reveal the Shabbat of man, the work of the forces were carried out during these days. Yet, and if the deeds were all the days concealed, only revealed the end of their end of the Sabbath. This is written that they are revealed on the fourth day of the creation. This thing of the man is called both four, and the four by both the fourth and seventh days. She is fourth regarding with the first three Sephirots, Hazar, Ganovar, Terfret, or Hagad. The patriarchs of Hesed is Abraham, Gunavera, Yuchak, Tefret, Yivak. Seventh with regard with the six Sephiroth, three additional Sephiroths called the sons. Nevat is a Moses, and Hod is Aaron, and Yosad is Joseph. Woman herself is king. Man herself is King David. The day of the Sabbath, man grows gradually, accumulates correction with the two principal stages called conception, and the first 3 days are to have Ilbur, or the first conception. The second 3 days correspond with the second conception and the reception of the light of the wisdom. Let's see. Alright, in other words, man is created by the Sephiroth of blank heaven, 3 days. For the fourth day, the Sephiroth and the Dizah, Zephyr, Ampine of heaven, hence the stage growth of man was required for the fourth patriarchs, and then the Sabbath comes to our land. Man is called both land and earth and Sabbath. The state, or Shabbat. The state of man achieves the result with growth in Sephiroth, Neva, Heva, Yesod, Yushat, and Refer, Ampin, and Sabbath on earth. In this day she attains the seventh light, or seventh heaven from seventh light. The light from the light of God, heaven. The first 3 days are not revealed man, for long as the parts of the I got several pages here, but like, alright, the parts of the man. I'm sorry, I just went to the dentist, dude. I just got all this fucking Novocaine in my jaw. It's defined and concealed or secret. The weekday is the day of the man who completely attains the degree with the standby there and attains herself. The state is defined as Shabbat. Over the man received the sixth of heaven. Should they have the 6 weekdays, the more important the man of the Sabbath, the inferior with the seventh, the light with regard to those with the receive from. The truth is that all weekdays constitute even individual degrees with correction. Weekdays work. They are devoid of the man, and hence they are called weekdays of parts of our, which is without man is considered a closed degree, unable to receive light, and is therefore deprived of holiness. After all the absence of man, there is no gar. There's no gar. Of light of wisdom, and only with the man is revealed with the part signify the ever arrival of Shabbat. Its holiness is the entire degree revealed entirely, because all 6 days received what they have earned, and light is shine, and the weekdays thank them to alone. When the first 3 days of the creation emerged before the emergency of a man, the 3 separate lights were devoid of light. They concealed the man. Man appeared 4th day, arrived, and the importance of the holiness 4 days manifested the man complements the entire degree of the perfection creation belief comes revealed thanks to the her. In language Kabbalah is described the following way: all 6 days of creation are the light of wisdom and Shabbat of mercy, the light of wisdom in present days of a week, present on the weekdays, but cannot shine through until the lack of light of wisdom and light of wisdom when the light of wisdom arrives on the Sabbath. And although the light of wisdom shines thanks to the light of wisdom of the Sabbath, this is fire, water, air. There are 3 first days of the creation. Although the initial supernal funds of all will follow the acts of the not revealed until the earth of man reveals that only does the work each of the supernal foundations reveal itself. Hence the power of first to 3 degrees revealed only for the 4th. However, the 3rd day may be better described as one that revealed the creation for the first 3 days of the dream to let the earth bring the 4th grath. As let's say, the revolutions of the earth, man, disease already took place on the 3rd day. Yet, although it's written on the 3rd day, the Tefrat is always actually the 4th day. The man joined with the 3rd day of the Tefrat, and the man, inseparable of the 4th day, revealed the deeds to include the work of each and every one of the days of creation for the 4th day of the 4th leg of the supernal throne of the light beyond, for the 4 legs beyond, 4 legs of Hesad, Gevara, Teferet, and Mashlat. Malshat reveals holiness and spiritual power for the 3 days. Therefore, Malshat ascends then joined in the 3rd day with this other reveal with the unity of 3 days, 3 lines of exalted and spiritual essence. In essence, there is, and hence the writing written with a deep the reveal of the 4th day of the man alone completely revolution conclusion with the 3rd day, and afterward the more day that the heaven that is after that revelation of the holiness of the 3 days of Hosai, Gavana, and Tefrat, called the patriarchs, which are the foundation of the God, heaven, the heaven and interest that has main parts manifested. The time comes from the sons of the last 6 days of creation to be born. This is why it's written that heaven is defined in the 4th leg with the throne of beyond, and the throne remains imperfect and complete until the 4th leg with the foundation manifests. Indeed, the heaven isn't complete until the Malshat manifests on him, and until the 4th day arrives. Only after the emergency of Malshat but can heaven father the sons of the 3 final days of creation. Alright, 78. All the actions of the Sephiroth lights of the 3 days of the creation, Hedside, Gavana, Teferet, on the last of the Navoka, Highside, Yasat, depending on the Sabbath, man, or the Gar of the entire degrees of the heaven, is perfect in them. Hence, that is written, and the Creator rested on the 7th day and Sabbath. This refers to the 4th leg of the throne, the 7th and the 4th day for both man, and then only the 4th day of the man that includes the Sephiroth, the light of Teferet of heaven from the chest upwards from the 7th day is man with the entire heaven that merged from the face to face with the zigzag or coupling, which is the sexual sexual union between man and woman in the world. Alright, although the 3 days of Hesad, Gavan, Teferet, ended with the 4th day, the result of their action nonetheless remained not entirely complete with the perfection manifested the Sabbath today. There are later days. Oh, fuck. there's got to be like 500 terms in this book. If there's written in the Sabbath, the fourth day of the throne, and there the seventh day also emerges after the sun also completes the deed of the patriarch. The first 3 days did not complete their correction. Fourth day and the seventh, the Sabbath is needed to complete them. This reason with the fourth day, the man is the day of the small size, called the small phase of the moon. As a result, the moon, Malshut, returns the state of Sabbath at the light of the day of the creation is manifest and shine with their light. With the first 3 days of the creation comes revealed only on the Sabbath. Yet the Sabbath of man, why does the Torah say, "My Sabbath are you to observe," implying to the written is the two parts of the Sabbath, night and the day, his shine that shines in the moon, and the man shines in the man. Therefore, no division with the emerging face of the connection and union with men and women. Therefore, they called the two Sabbaths. There are two plural moons of the fourth and seventh days are separate, and they keep all the Sabbaths, implying that two. Yet, with the fourth day manifests the perfection. Only the seventh day becomes clear that there is only one Sabbath. But then remember that here is heaven. Man is the moon is that shines the holiness of the Sabbath. For the day is male, bestowing that Zachar, the manifest of female parts of Malshut and Nivaka. However, there are Sabbath parts, but however the merging perfection of the single world, as is the heaven will assume the names of the Sabbath. Alright, 80. Falling behind the donkey, them with his donkey, the donkey driver said, "Why is it said that you should fear sanctity?" He replied that refers to the sanctity of Sabbath. The donkey driver asked, "What is sanctity of the Sabbath?" They replied, "It's a sanctity that descends from above, from the heaven's light." He said to them, "If there is such a Sabbath of plural, or Sabbatha, from a Sabbath without sanctity, the sanctity descends only in it from above, from the sea." Rabbi Abba answered, "It is indeed so." And he said, "He called the Sabbath delight and a holy day dedicated with the Creator." The Sabbath of the holy day mentioned separately. The donkey driver asked, "If so, then what does the holy day mean to the Creator?" He replied, "That sanctity descends from above, from heaven, and fills the Sabbath of the man." The donkey driver objected, "But sanctity descends from above, and the Sabbath itself is not a holy day, and yet it is written, 'You shall sanctify the Sabbath,' meaning Sabbath itself." Rabbi Elzer and Rabbi Abba, "Leave this man alone, for there is much wisdom in him. We do not know." And so he said, "The donkey driver, speak, and we shall listen." The donkey driver questioned the Sabbath of heaven. This is why it is described as holy. After the sanctity of the provided with the property of the scene of the evanescence of heaven, only the evanescence are called holy, or significance. Hence, the object of the Sabbath should be separated with the sanctity. Sabbath is Shabbat, or heaven. Sabbath's heaven is not holy in itself because it receives holiness from above. Sabbath is not holiness itself because it receives holiness from above, and the scene that is the heaven receives the look that was created, the Creator's holiness. Or the donkey driver opened and written with the Shabbat that the Sabbath, the two Sabbaths, is that there is only two, and that alludes to the border of the Sabbath, which is 2,000 amen cubits in each direction of the city. But this is why the et, I don't know what the et mean, was added before the Sabbath, which is designed for the plural form for both the upper Sabbath and the lower Sabbath joining into one. Although it is said that the man shall not leave the place on the seventh day, the singular form is in place for the Torah, where et is used as an example in the sentence, et, or 2,000 amma in each direction from its place, with the word et consisting of the first two letters of the alphabet, alpha and teva, designated man enter the union of heaven, which signified the Sabbath. Hence, the light of the heaven became revealed and shine supplementary luminescency from heaven. There will begin a look of the 2,000 suns. So the word of the is present to designate the supreme light of Sabbath. There's an exist of the Sabbath above and the Sabbath below. The upper Sabbath is the parts of Tuvan, the lower parts of beyond, or lower the Sabbath, the parts of the man, and the Vaka Diva of Sefer Ampin of the world of Atzelot. In the world of Atzelot, the parts of beyond is divided into two parts. Of upper part of the beyond is called the parts of Lucine, and the lower part is beyond the parts of the shall receive the light of the upper right, but so the parts so to pass on the heaven, as called the parts of the Yesha or Israel Sabbath of the during the Tavana. Simply the Tavana, the relationship between beyond and Ava, and the Tavana is similar to the heaven of the man. Heaven and man. Beyond its upper world, the man is called the lower world on Sabbath of the heaven, and beyond this heaven to the scene, and the man is to Tuvana. Let's try to look up. On Sabbath, the man merges with the Devana. However, it does not mean that no difference left between the man who received the light from the Devana only because he ascended to Devana's level. Yet at her place on the lowest degree of the level that Atzelot of the man, Malsha, is unable to receive the light of the Devana. The extent of the man cannot yet receive the light of the Devana. In her regular state, she is defined as closed. All Devana suffers the man being closed while within her place. The man cannot receive the light from Devana. The revelation of Devana is possible only through man. On Sabbath, as Devana and woman and mother, sister and mother join to form a part of Perseva, which does not look closed, since the light shines only with the man and ascends with it to it. The woman feels closed. The Devana feels closed, stated, and suffers too. I'm not sure if that's what that means. I'm still looking in. I got the abbreviations. There's 8 pages of abbreviations. It's like seriously fucked up. Alright, on the Sabbath was left unmentioned above, the felt ashamed and said to him, the creator of the universe, from the day I was created, I called the Sabbath, there is no day without light. The creator replied to him, my daughter, when you say you are the Sabbath, I have given you the name, but now I am surrounding and adorning you with the most exalted adornment. He then raised his voice and proclaimed, those who sanctify the shall fear. This is the night of Sabbath that radiates fear of the Lord. Who is he? Who is she who is merging from together with I? Or man of the nights of Sabbath, the Creator himself of heaven and single whole. I have heard the Father of Et refers to the boundary and boundaries of Sabbath. The two Sabbaths denote the circle and square within the two told two. According to them, they are two sanctities which should remain mentioned during the Shabbos blessing. Yikavolta, consisting of 35 words, and Yikiddish. Two consist of 35 words, collectively marking the 17 names of heaven, which are the heaven, the Creator, the Melchizedek, and the assembly of Israel adjoining themselves. 83. Since the circle and square of the two Sabbaths are both included with instruction, my two Sabbaths you observe. However, the upper Sabbath is not included in instruction observed, rather in remember. For supernal king beyond is perfect in his memory. For there is beyond is called the king, for whose perfection lies peace and memory. Hence, there is no contradiction above. Man and woman is called the central point of creation, receives no light in the Sabbath, being that the lock is she called the light, and entered the light, entering her only form of the mishpah, or key, is to the side of the man. The man that joins beyond her properties, the man herself, is therefore referred to as the lock. The central point of the creation is only with the one thing with the Creator, and the compromise with the creators, including the human soul. She argued with the Creator with the beginning of the creation in the world of Adam Kaddium, and the entire light was revealed, was shown upon the creatures. Thanks to her, there is no other man in the world of Adam Kaddium, except for the central point, only due to the second restriction. Now is the world of asphalt, which is restricted close to the reception of light. And his greater wonderful secret of the man objects even on the first day, then that there shall be evening and there shall be morning one day. In other words, until the day revealed, both night and the day together, there are night of the first of the Sabbath not mentioned in the Torah. Only the words of the seventh day are you, but the Creator replied, but the man with the fur of the Sabbath implied, but the Sabbath of the seventh millennial day of the Sabbath will come and remain forever. Meanwhile, during the 6,000 years, Creator elevates the man to beyond and results in to receive this supernal adjournment and greater with the one. Greater than the ones that had worked with the world of Adam Kadam. Therefore she has acted in the end of the Sefrat, not she'll revise act the acts of the place of Gavar and in the scene where they're called the Holy of Holies. In man whose side of the lack of the light of wisdom is felt, the man ascends with the light, and it ascends to the scene where the light of mercy is present, where there is absolutely no need for the light of wisdom. Their state is defined as perfect. Man is the fear for a she is restricted. Women is for, man is for sheer is called fear, so she is restricted to refrain from receiving the Creator's light with a desire to receive pleasure. Therefore, she does not receive the light from above her desires to receive the pleasure. Instead, she receives the light only with the returning light when she refuses to use her egoism. This occurs in the following way. The first of the direct light that comes from the Creator of the man, and which the man feels the delight of his or own desire to receive and enjoy. Secondly, wishing both alike, like the Creator of the man, repels it and prohibits himself from receiving the light. The renunciation of the egotistic pleasure of the returning light becomes the man repelled the light pressure from her. There, the day the man has created the light of the direction returning light, she begins to receive the light of direct light in its new desire to receive them only because the Creator wants her to. The reception is possible with a man that has an anti-egotistic force that will call the power and call the screen. The spiritual world of real sensation, desires, and forces not vested in shell garments and corporeal bodies. In other words, similar other characteristics depicted in the Kabbalah do not designate any images rather than demonstrate interactions of force or property. There are circles impelled, but the light shines completely unrestricted at every place with the same extent. There is no change in radiance. The square rectangle indicates the restriction, the creative difference between the side and right, left, and top, bottom. Hence, they had a round shape with regard to the rectangular shape of the body of the Rosh. The head is free of the restriction, and back of the body are not. The Sabbath is the spiritual state of the God heaven, and ascends to the ascends to the shown, clothe them, and result of the lower Sabbath of heaven and the upper Sabbath of seeing of the show merge into one. The upper Sabbath of the show is designated with a circle. With the lower Sabbath is God, however, it designates the square. And once the Sabbath is in heaven, merge to the sight, depicted as a square essence insertion into a circle. The light of wisdom is designated with the letter of Anyan. Anyan. And yin, not depicted. Alright, and yin, where the hell are we? Since the light of wisdom is revealed only during the ascent of the lower Sabbath of the upper, the light of wisdom is divided into two parts, one half of the upper Sabbath and one lower, hence the passages of the Bereshit, or Valiyecha, it consists of 35 words rather than half the light of the upper Sabbath, whereas the blessing itself consists of only 35 words refer to half of the light of the lower Sabbath of the common soul, called the Assembly of Israel, or Sabbath is adjourned with light. Since the circle and the square merge the same, assume the name of the two Sabbath of light, and both the circle and the square is defined in protecting the guard. Although the word guard eludes the restriction borders of most, observe the fear violating, where the upper Sabbath designates by a circle. There is no restriction borders due to the joining of the two Sabbaths into one. There is still restriction border. Or the upper Sabbath is called remember and not observe, and is completely free of restriction. However, it is merged with the lower Sabbath that is called observe, and is no need to guard, where the normally relates to man alone. Only do the man ascend of the beyond, did not need to guard, where the presence of the man arose in the beyond. For the beyond herself, a man remains only property of the remembering, for egotistic desires to receive pleasure, needing guarding. The upper Sabbath beyond is designated of the mi, or what. Word of Yod and Mem of Yem, and who of them have from a square implies the presence of controversy its property, right and left side will give it in square form. There are two types of peace for that. One, the Yocheved, Tiferet, and the Yocheved and the Yosef. Therefore, the peace is written with the two pieces of peace and peace to peace and distance one another and near one. The distance one refers to the Yocheved, the near one refers to the Yosef. Or as written, far from afar, I see the Creator came to stop far in the distance. Below signifies heavens containing only the property of the Yocheved, or the piece that is nearby, and the piece that is distant, and the Tiferet of the heaven and God, also the property of the Yosef, the piece of the greater of the nearer distance. Both this signifies indicate the coupling of man and woman from heaven and man. For peace signifies the marriage and the upper sigoth intended for the perception of light of wisdom above the lower peace near one about the man only with the light of wisdom. Alright, it was already mentioned that it's impossible to receive the light of wisdom without being clothed. The light of mercy of the light of wisdom of the coupling of man and woman is made only, and therefore it is distinct with the most person clothed of the light of mercy before they can receive the light of wisdom. Hence the writing is for afar I saw the Creator. The lower coupling is called the near one. This parts of received the light of mercy without any preliminary caution for other the help of the lower light of mercy with the parts of subsequently resolves or light of wisdom. Therefore, why the piece of the word peace is used twice. The peace too far and too near, grading the respectively both for taking part of the reception of the light of wisdom and God. Two generations defined in God as a square. Their controversy between defining the controversy between the right and left side of there entered the letter Heya Navak Malshut, where upper Navaka beyond enters the letter Yad, which designates not the female part but the male, and hence there is no controversy here. Every notion of the near and far do not exist beyond herself. With the show of the Gar perfection, Gar cannot receive the light of the wisdom, but nearby maintaining do not need clothing. The light of wisdom, light of mercy beforehand can receive the light of wisdom. The light of mercy, hence that it says the upper man is king, who peace is like the God. Two notions of peace are absent in him. Alright, from far off the supernal point, standing in his place with his hand, founding in his place with said, You are the guard, you shall fear my sanctity, refer to at the point. Standing in the center, you must fear with anything of the punishment. And death is written, all transgressors shall perish, whether the transgressor they are entered into space with a circle and the square committed with a hint for that is written with the shall fear. The point of that is called I, and their prohibition is revelation to the God's name, and I in God's name in a single whole. Rabbi Elzer and Rabbi Abba dismounted from their donkeys, kissed him, and then they said, So you great your wisdom, and you drive donkeys behind us. Who are you then? He replied to them, Don't ask me who I am, because let us go on and study the Torah. Each of us will speak the wisdom, as will eliminate your own path. The two distant refers to the point of the one way with the parts of the third stream with the light of wisdom, and after the light of the blessing of the first word of the Torah, the Creator, in the beginning of the point of the hall from which the light of wisdom descended from God. God then ascended from the look of heaven. For then the two Sabbaths of the upper scene and the lower God merged. It was written above, I saw the Creator from afar off. The Creator, for God cannot receive the light of wisdom without being clothed with light of mercy. Light of wisdom and beyond, called the point of all, refer to the distance from the God, needed the garment of the light of wisdom, light of mercy for the lower of the world, Navak, and who man would a world of Adam Cadium. The central point is called the lock, whereas malt with the Zalt with the point of the hall, the world of asphalt with the point of the hall is called the key of light of the Zat, is the Eshot that can be received in it. The circle is called the square with the zon with the same with the light of heaven with the square end for the result with the two props the man with the lock with the central point and the key with the point of the hall and the let me read it on my point page. This is alright. We're gonna cut this like right here right now like. Or the point is called with the eye of the look of the God. The name of God is merged and is defined in a single whole. Hence, point is referred to as the look, meaning that the characterizes holier property of the vision. Alright, and then we're going to cut it to tape right now.